Welcome. Thank you for coming and to watch this video. Let's go ahead and dive right in. They're asking us to write and solve an equation for this proportional relationship. And here is our first scenario. Johnny's class is having a holiday party, and Johnny, he's in charge of bringing the juice. What a guy. He decides to bring powdered juice mix and add water to it once he gets to school. That's pretty smart. That way you don't have to bring all kinds of stuff on the bus. There is a proportional relationship between the volume of water. So here we have the volume of water that Johnny uses to make the juice. We're going to call that X. And also the number of scoops of juice. So the number of scoops of juice he uses in the mix, we're going to call that Y. And it's important to distinguish between the two, and I'll show you why in just a second. To make the juice, Johnny combines, here's some information, 4 liters of water and 8 scoops of juice mix. Write the equation for the relationship between X and Y. I have a feeling that your teacher is going to ask you to write this relationship in the form of Y equals KX, which is a very frequently used equation that utilizes K, also known as the unit rate, or the the constant of proportionality. Those can be used interchangeably a lot of times with these. The unit rate. And the reason that's is over here on the right side. We're going to go ahead and figure out, first of all, what K is. So before we can write this equation, we have to know what the value of K is. And before we know what the value of K is, we have to know that the value of K is always Y divided by X. Simplified down, of course, if it can be. So remember earlier when I underlined a few things, I did that for a reason. The scoops of juice, that is Y. So the scoops of juice, if I were to reread this just a little bit, it looks like Johnny used 8 scoops of juice. And it looks like the water that Johnny uses to make, that is where we get the X from, which down here is 4 liters of water. Now, I have a feeling that your teacher might want this simplified. So if that's the case, we can just simplify 8 over 4 to 2 over 1, or just simply 2. And you can do that by dividing both of those numbers by 2. Divide 8 by 2 and then 4 by 2, and you will get 2 over 1, or simply 2. So this equation that we're looking for here, if I were to write an equation in that box, it would be Y equals, now instead of the letter K, we know what K is. It is 2. And keep the letter X. Now, this equation can be used to solve all kinds of problems, like the question they're going to give us next. So if you notice, we had the right equation here. Here's the Y equals 2X. This is the same exact scenario up here asking or telling us a little about Johnny and his class. But now, they're asking some questions based on this information. How many scoops of juice should Johnny combine with 6 liters of water? Well, before we figured out that the water in this particular scenario is known as X. So if we're looking to combine 6 liters of water, what we can do, if we have our equation Y equals 2X into the value of X right there, we can go ahead and substitute the number 6. That's the whole reason we came up with this equation in the first place, folks, is so we can now plug different amounts of numbers in, whether for the water or for the scoops, to figure out the other. Whether it's, well, in this case, it's going to tell us how many scoops we get. We need if we, or how many scoops we will need if we use 6 liters of water. So all we have to do is solve this down to get the result of you would only need 12 scoops if you had 6 liters of water. Now, on the other side of things, sometimes they might tell you how many scoops to begin with. Now, in this case, we said the scoops was the Y value. So this number 14 is not getting plugged in for X this time. It is getting plugged in or substituted in for the Y value. So if I were to rewrite this, we have 2X. This time, we are not going to plug that in for X, but for Y, because it is the scoops. How many liters of water should Johnny combine with 14 scoops of juice mix? Well, in this case, I'm going to solve this like I have done in the past. I'll even change my colors up here for you. Let's divide by 2 because I want to get X all by itself, since that is the goal, to solve any equation where there's a variable, if it's possible. And if I divide both sides by 2, I get X to equal 7. Or in this case, 7 liters of water will be needed to make 14 scoops of juice mix. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.